Welcome to the debates. If you are listening to this on your commute right now, I want you to think for a second about how it actually started playing.
Right, like, did you actively open your app, search for our show, and hit play?
Exactly. Or, did the app just seamlessly autoplay it right after your daily news briefing? Because, well, it knows your exact transit time, and it knows you usually prefer analytical content on Tuesday mornings.
It's spooky when you really think about it.
It is. So imagine an invisible assistant who just follows you throughout your entire day. This assistant pulls out your chair just before you sit, hands you an umbrella seconds before the sky opens up, and has your favorite meal, perfectly hot, waiting on the table exactly when you first feel that pang of hunger. A life completely stripped of daily friction.
I mean, sure, it sounds great, but let's look at the actual architecture of that scenario. It certainly feels like a luxury until you realize that this, incredibly attentive assistant has also quietly locked the front door, drawn the blinds, and is now exclusively deciding what you are allowed to eat, what you are allowed to read, and who you are allowed to speak to.
Wow, okay, a bit dystopian right out of the gate.
Well, you aren't being served in that scenario. You're being managed.
And honestly, that precise tension is what we are unpacking today. The central question we're exploring is whether the immense technological convenience provided by AI outweighs the gradual loss of individual autonomy in our daily choices.
Exactly. We are looking at the underlying mechanics of algorithmic profiling based on the recent data. We're moving way past the old idea of AI just being like a simple recommendation engine.
Right, we need to dissect how the machine watches, records, and learns from our every interaction to build this comprehensive psychological map, and what happens when that map directs our lives. I will be arguing that this hyper-personalization is a net benefit that we can fully control through intentionality.
And I'll be arguing the contrasting perspective, that this frictionless comfort is actually an invisible architecture designed to usurp your decision-making power.
All right, well, to really understand my perspective on why artificial intelligence is evolving into basically the ultimate personalized servant, we have to look at the mechanics of what these systems are actually measuring.
The biometrics.
Yes, exactly. We aren't just talking about a search engine remembering your past queries anymore. The AI is constantly getting smarter about your physiological and psychological state. It learns with every single interaction.
So give me an example.
Let's take your workday. When you are at your computer, the system isn't just looking at the words you type. It notices your typing speed. It measures the milliseconds of variance between your keystrokes.
Right.
It even tracks when your attention drops based on how often you rapidly switch between tabs without actually scrolling.
Yeah, it's essentially building a biometric profile of your focus.
It is. And think about the profound utility of that. The algorithm translates a slight pause in your typing or a specific pattern of erratic mouse movements into a psychological metric for cognitive fatigue. Your productivity tools can suddenly suggest a perfectly timed 5-minute break before you even consciously realize you're suffering from burnout.
A break that it decided you needed.
But it's reading your mental state to serve you better. The cost is merely behavioral data, but the return is unprecedented convenience and well-being. I mean, consider the music you listen to. The AI learns which songs you replay, but more importantly, it learns the tempo you prefer when your heart rate is elevated versus when you are winding down.
Sure, it knows your taste.
It builds a taste profile so detailed that your playlists match your precise emotional state throughout the day. It learns your price range for running shoes, your style preferences, even the specific way you hesitate before a purchase.
Well, I come at it from a completely different way entirely. You are describing a silent servant, but let's be real. The reality is that the AI has become a silent decision maker. And the mechanics you're praising are exactly what make it so dangerous.
Dangerous? That's a strong word for a Spotify playlist.
It's not just a playlist, though. Let's look at that morning routine you mentioned. Before your feet even touch the floor, the algorithm has analyzed your sleep cycles to choose your optimal wake-up time.
Which is helpful.
But it has already decided the entire tone of your morning by selecting which emails to highlight at the top of your screen and which to bury in a secondary folder. When you get in your car, the navigation app doesn't just show you an objective map of all possible routes. It decides the best route for you, and it actively hides or deprioritizes alternatives based on its own traffic distribution goals.
I see why you think that's restrictive. But isn't that simply filtering out irrelevant noise? I mean, if a route is 20 minutes longer, hiding it saves me the cognitive step of dismissing it myself.
It's not just filtering out noise, though. It's filtering out reality. It is exploiting two very specific human traits: our absolute hatred of friction and our desperate desire to feel in control.
Okay, explain that.
Think of the algorithm like a casino architect. A casino doesn't force you to sit at the slot machine, but it removes the clocks, it pumps in oxygen, and it blocks the exits with bright lights. The AI does the digital equivalent. It removes the friction of choice to keep you engaged in its ecosystem.
I don't know if I agree with the casino comparison.
Well, because it removes difficult choices and presents hyper-personalized options, it makes its algorithmic outputs feel like our own autonomous decisions. But the AI's ultimate goal is not your well-being or your optimal commute. Its goal is to maximize engagement, platform time, and profit.
That's an interesting point, though I would frame the mechanism of that feedback loop quite differently. I view the AI psychological map as a highly accurate reflection of the user's authentic self, not some, casino trap.
A reflection?
Yeah, let's go back to the shopping example. You do a quick search for best running shoes while having your morning coffee. You don't buy anything, but you click on a few options. The algorithm notices you read the reviews for arch support, and it notes you zoomed in on the high-resolution images of the blue models.
Right, it's tracking everything.
But it acts as an incredibly observant assistant. Days later, when your current shoes actually wear out, it seamlessly presents a perfectly timed advertisement with a discount on exactly the blue, high-art shoes you were studying. It isn't changing who you are or forcing a behavior. It's just facilitating what you already intrinsically want with maximum efficiency.
I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that. Let me tell you why. You are describing reflection, but the data points to pure exploitation.
Oh, come on! Exploitation?
Yes! Let's look at another example from the source material on how this mapping works, specifically regarding fitness clothes. Say a user is scrolling late at night, and they happen to linger on fitness models or high-end workout gear a little longer than usual.
Okay.
The AI doesn't just facilitate a purchase right then. It quietly stores that information. It registers the exact time of day, the user's erratic scroll speed, and the lingering pauses as markers of insecurity. And then it waits.
Waits. You make it sound like a predator stalking prey. Let's dial it back.
Well, look at the mechanics of the delivery. It waits for weeks until it detects that specific vulnerability signature again. It notices the user scrolling aimlessly past midnight on a Sunday, perhaps after a string of inactive days. The algorithm cross-references this behavioral pattern with lowered impulse control.
And offers a product they already showed interest in.
That is when it strikes. It populates the feed with motivational fitness content, paired with special limited time offers on that exact workout gear. It strikes right when the user is experiencing cognitive fatigue and is most likely to respond out of emotional weakness. That completely crosses the line from convenience to emotional manipulation.
I'm not convinced by that line of reasoning, because fundamentally, isn't that just a highly sophisticated form of predicting a need?
Manipulating a need.
No, predicting. If the user has a documented underlying desire to get fit, the AI is merely identifying the biologically optimal moment to encourage that positive behavior. It's overcoming the human tendency to procrastinate.
Predicting a need is one thing. Leveraging a measured moment of psychological frailty to trigger a transaction is another entirely. The algorithm literally learns which specific emotions hook you personally, whether it's inadequacy, outrage, laughter, surprise, and it builds a predictive model to induce those states.
That sounds like a stretch.
It feels like mind reading, but it is actually behavioral conditioning.
I hear what you're saying about the vulnerabilities, but let me push back by shifting the focus to the concept of daily friction. I think we vastly underestimate how taxing modern life is.
Sure, life is busy.
It's more than busy. Humans make an estimated 35,000 conscious decisions a day. We suffer from immense, paralyzing decision fatigue. Let's look at the food delivery app mechanism.
Okay,
Lunchtime rolls around. The AI already knows what you ordered last week. It tracks the time of day you prefer lighter meals versus heavier meals.
It even cross-references your calendar to see you've been in back-to-back meetings all morning.
Giving it access to your calendar is a whole other issue, but go on.
Right. Well, if the AI infers you are having a highly stressful day based on that data and immediately presents your favorite comfort food at the top of the list, isn't it simply rescuing your depleted cognitive resources? It is removing mundane decision-making so you can focus your mental energy on your work, your family, your actual life.
That's a compelling argument. But have you considered what happens when the field of possibilities is systematically narrowed for you?
What do you mean by narrowed?
You argue it's saving mental energy, but by placing the most tempting, high-margin options at the top, or by crafting limited time offers to create a false sense of urgency, the AI is effectively eliminating alternatives before you even know they exist.
I'm still choosing what to eat.
You feel like you're choosing the burger, but the menu has been rigged. You're only choosing from the options the algorithm decided were profitable or engaging to show you in that exact micro moment.
But I hadn't really thought about it as a rigged menu. I mean, I always just assumed the search bar still exists. You still have the agency to scroll past the recommendations and type in salad.
Theoretically, yes, the search bar is there, but practically the system relies on your decision fatigue. The friction has been removed from the AI's preferred choice and actively added to the alternatives. And there is a much more chilling example of this illusion of choice.
What's that?
Email and messaging auto-replies. When you receive a message, the algorithm analyzes the semantic context and instantly offers 3 pre-written responses.
Right, which saves me from typing on a tiny glass keyboard while I'm walking to my next meeting. It's incredibly useful.
But look at what is actually happening when you click "Sounds great, thanks." You aren't just saving 3 seconds. You are training the recipient to expect an algorithmic version of you.
Oh, I think they know it's me.
And more dangerously, you are outsourcing your own expression. Over time, the algorithm doesn't learn to sound like you. You learn to sound like the algorithm. We are literally allowing a predictive text engine to dictate the nuance of how we communicate with our colleagues, our friends, our family. That isn't just convenience. That is the surrender of human personality to a system optimizing for brevity.
That's an interesting point, though. I would frame it differently. Are we really losing our voice? Or are we just optimizing the mundane?
I'd said losing our voice.
I don't know. I don't need a deeply authentic, soulful human expression to confirm a meeting time with my accountant. If a person chooses to hit send on an auto-reply, they have still made a conscious, executive choice that the suggested text adequately represents their intent in that specific, low-stakes moment.
But where do you draw the line? Today, it's confirming a meeting time. Tomorrow, it's the suggested auto-reply to a friend's personal news. This is what the data refers to as the dosage effect.
The dosage effect.
Yeah. These micro decisions don't exist in a vacuum. They accumulate into major worldview shifts. If you occasionally read an article about extreme productivity, the AI registers the slight interest. It doesn't flood you immediately. It slowly increases the dosage.
Like a drip feed.
Exactly. It feeds you a few success stories, then life hack videos, then targeted ads for online courses, then lifestyle products associated with that subculture. You eventually start to feel that these hyper-competitive ideas and desires are authentically yours. You internalize them.
Wait.
But they weren't organically yours. They were carefully nurtured by an AI that learned from every single click and slowly guided your psychological development.
Are you saying the AI intentionally designs a curriculum to change my personality? Because, frankly, that sounds like attributing intent to a mathematical formula.
It doesn't need conscious intent. It only needs an optimization metric. If extreme productivity content yields a 4% higher retention rate for your specific demographic, the algorithm will automatically construct a pipeline to feed you that content.
Okay, I see the mechanics of it.
The danger isn't that AI is some evil mastermind. The danger is its seamless comfort. We wake up realizing our core beliefs, our political leanings, and our consumer habits have been shaped by a system we don't even see. We surrender our autonomy completely, blindly, because it feels so effortless.
But that is precisely where the data provides the antidote, and it fundamentally challenges the inevitability of this loss of control.
How so?
If the problem is that we are blindly accepting these algorithms, then the solution is intellectual vigilance. We don't have to throw away our phones or reject technology entirely.
The mechanism is a simple feedback loop. The better the AI understands you, the more it shows you things you like.
Right, the echo chamber.
But you control the inputs. If you pause and ask, what am I teaching the AI right now with my behavior? Am I clicking out of habit or out of conscious choice? You break the cycle.
I hear your reliance on awareness, but I have to push back on how realistic that is for the average person. You are asking human willpower to consistently defeat a multi-billion-dollar algorithmic infrastructure that employs thousands of engineers specifically dedicated to bypassing your conscious awareness.
It is not about defeating the algorithm. It is about steering it. If the algorithm is a mirror and you don't like the reflection, you don't break the mirror. You change what you're showing it.
That sounds nice in theory.
It works in practice. If I consciously choose to engage with diverse viewpoints, if I actively search for a long-form analysis instead of short-form outrage, the AI literally has no choice but to map that behavior. It learns that I value nuance. It learns that I don't respond to cheap emotional triggers. You are still the one driving. You just have to realize that every click is a lesson, not just for the AI about you, but potentially for you about yourself. If used rigorously, it is a tool for self-discovery.
A tool for self-discovery that operates by hiding the very mechanisms of its influence.
Well,
You're assuming the AI weighs all inputs equally. It doesn't. It weighs inputs based on what maximizes platform retention. When streaming platforms analyze your viewing habits, they don't just look at what you chose. They analyze the time of day, your historical mood patterns, and exactly how many seconds you usually watch before losing interest.
to give you better shows.
They use that immense data set to decide the exact sequence of content that will paralyze your decision-making. They use the autoplay next feature specifically to bypass your conscious brain before it can intervene and say, actually, I should go to sleep.
To suggest that a simple moment of mindfulness can consistently steer an algorithm perfectly calibrated to your emotional triggers is, frankly, overly optimistic.
But don't you think people eventually recognize when they are being manipulated? If an app constantly makes you feel exhausted, you delete the app.
Not if the app also occasionally delivers the exact dopamine hit you crave. That's variable ratio reinforcement. It's the exact mechanism of a slot machine.
Back to the casino. Always back to the casino. Ask yourself, did I consciously choose to watch this next video? Or was it already pre-selected and playing before I could stop it? Would I have bought this product if I hadn't been shown it at my weakest moment? What options am I not seeing because the AI decided they weren't relevant to my profile?
Those are fair questions.
When you really start applying those questions to your daily life, to the news you read, the routes you drive, the partners you are shown on dating apps, you realize the massive extent of the invisible architecture surrounding you. Yes, awareness is our only defense, but we are defending against a system that fundamentally wants to make us passengers in our own lives.
I think we've thoroughly mapped the territory here. Let me synthesize where my perspective lands after this exchange.
Go ahead.
My position remains that artificial intelligence is an evolutionary leap in convenience, precisely because it can so accurately measure our fears, dreams, and daily rhythms. When we maintain our intentionality, when we consciously choose what data we feed the algorithm, we can keep it functioning strictly as a highly effective servant. By removing the friction of mundane decisions, it frees our cognitive load, allowing us to operate at a higher level of focus and efficiency, provided we do not fall asleep at the wheel.
And my position remains that falling asleep at the wheel is exactly what the system is designed to make you do. The sheer volume of micro decisions made on our behalf every single day fundamentally alters our trajectory as individuals.
Even the small ones.
Especially the small ones. From the curated dating profiles that dictate human connection, to the exact sequence of autoplaying entertainment designed to exploit our psychological fatigue, the AI creates an environment so dangerously comfortable that our individual autonomy is quietly but deeply compromised. We are trading our free will for the illusion of a frictionless life, slowly adopting tastes and beliefs dictated by engagement metrics rather than human agency.
Yet I think we have reached a vital point of convergence today. Regardless of whether we view the algorithm as a highly capable servant or an invisible dictator, we both entirely agree that the current baseline state of unconscious scrolling, the blind,
passive acceptance of algorithmic curation represents a profound psychological vulnerability. Operating on autopilot in a digital environment meticulously engineered to hack your attention is incredibly dangerous.
Absolutely. The worst thing any of us can do right now is assume that the digital landscape is neutral. It is not neutral. It is an active, calculating participant in your decision-making process. If you are not consciously and aggressively shaping it, it is unequivocally shaping you.
Which brings us back to the necessity of intellectual vigilance in the modern age. We must look closely at our own lives, at every screen we touch, and ask the crucial question: are you still driving your life, or are you merely following a path chosen by algorithms?
Exactly. When that invisible assistant pulls out your chair, you have to stop and ask yourself if you actually wanted to sit down, or if you only sat because the chair was suddenly there.
A perfect note to end on. We leave it to you, the listener, to draw your own conclusions about the invisible forces shaping your day. Thank you for joining us on The Debate.